From WABI TV5 News, this is a Campaign 2020 Maine election update.
Welcome back to our Campaign 2020 coverage. I'm John Small, along with Catherine Pegram, as we approach 11 p.m. on the East Coast. And I wish I had some more definitive things to tell you at this hour, but not quite yet.
No, this is an election season where everything has been up in the air, and certainly we are seeing that play out in Maine tonight. At this point, maybe 30% of the precincts coming in with some of the ballots that we have right now. Let's take a look right now at the presidential race and see where we stand here in Maine. Again, 34% of the precincts. They were ticking up a little bit here. Donald Trump coming in with 51% of the vote, Joe Biden with 46% of the vote, and the other contenders in the single digits. So this is obviously a race between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out, especially when it comes to electoral votes. Again, Donald Trump won one of Maine's 4 electoral votes 4 years ago. He's looking to grab all of them this go around. Joe Biden, of course, would appreciate all of them as well. And that's what really is going to come down to, will be those electoral votes.
Yeah, the Trump campaign was certainly very confident they could win that electoral vote again, and had a lot of his surrogates, and the president himself visited the district again this time around. So we'll see how that plays out tonight. Of course, the race the big race we're all watching in Maine and across the nation as well is the U.S. Senate race. 4-term Senator Susan Collins being challenged by 3 others, including Maine Speaker of the House, Democrat Sarah Gideon. And right now, with 34% of the precincts reporting, Susan Collins still holding that lead. Now, again, still very early in the evening, not really sure where all the votes are coming from in terms of the precincts, if they're big cities like Portland, if they're communities from the 2nd District. But for the most part of the evening, Susan Collins has held this steady lead throughout the evening. But again, 66% of the votes still to be counted, precincts still to report, so a long way to go in this race.
Both of those candidates pretty much sweeping the state in the last few days, trying to garner as many votes as possible. Morgan Sturdivant has been covering the Sarah Gideon campaign. She joins us now from Portland with the latest there. Pretty quiet where you are, Morgan, pretty unusual too.
Yeah, Catherine, really unusual here tonight at this watch party when there would typically be supporters, campaign volunteers, lots of people here, that energetic buzz, a couple of hours after polls close, waiting to see what the results are. But what we see here tonight are media working. They decided with the pandemic they wanted to keep this as safe as possible and not have a rally type event tonight. They kept it just to staff members, just to media. Tonight, as we said, this is a closely watched race, so there is national media here tonight. There is local media here. There's media from around the state that are watching this, because if this becomes a Democratic win, or if this stays a incumbent Republican, Susan Collins continues to stay in the seat, then we know that either way could have a big impact when it comes to the U.S. Senate. But we know the people came out today, they cast their votes, they made their decisions, but the results might not come back for a few days because this is a ranked choice race, so it could be a couple of days. Back to you guys.
All right, Morgan Sturdivant for us in Portland tonight, talking about the votes. 500,000 people voted before we even got to this day here in Maine. This has certainly been a race about absentee ballots as well, and voters who came out today.
Okay, we're going to go to the Susan Collins campaign in Bangor. I understand there might be a big announcement coming there. Brian Sullivan is there. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, hi, John. Thank you very much. The big announcement that they just announced to a very raucous crowd was that they've just called Lewiston for the Collins campaign. Now, I spoke to a member of the Collins campaign staff, and they explained to me why that's such a big deal. They said that that's an area that was called for President Joe Biden as well as for Jared Golden. So for two blue sides of the coin and then the red side for Collins to take that, a very big deal for this campaign, as they continue to chip away in the southern part of the state, and members of the campaign have been a little surprised by some of the success that they've had in the southern part of the state of Maine. So that was the big announcement that they just made a couple of minutes ago, that the Collins campaign has won Lewiston. So we're going to keep on checking in what goes on throughout the night here. They do say that win, lose, draw, or ranked choice voting, the senator will speak to us again at some point, but earlier in the night, she spoke to us at about 8:30. She thanked her supporters, her staff members. She gave out a few MVP Yeti cups to members of the campaign staff who had helped her and have been at this for so long, 24 years as the state of Maine Senator. Collins trying to win again and be back for another 6 years as Maine Senator. And, what we've heard from the campaign staff is that they're optimistic and a little surprised at some of the numbers that have come in so far. And as you can see behind me, some of our supporters are pretty excited about what they are seeing. So we will be here throughout the night until we learn more. For now, I will send it along to Morgan Sturdivant, who is in Portland. I apologize. We'll check in with Morgan in just a second. We'll go back to the studio with more from John and Catherine.
All right. Thank you, Brian Sullivan at the Susan Collins campaign in Bangor. I'm not sure if they're dancing because they're excited or just trying to keep warm out there.
Right, exactly. That's actually one of the first campaigns that we've seen tonight where there have been supporters who've been able to come out and actually show their enthusiasm for the candidate that they're following.
And they are doing it outside.
And they are outside, and that is probably why they are able to do that, because we still have size limitations, crowd limitations when it comes to inside camps. But that's interesting to see, and I can understand how Brian might have gotten a little discombobulated with the noise that he actually heard around him, because it has been so quiet at so many of the campaign headquarters that we've seen tonight. Let's check out the congressional district races, too, right now. We'll talk first about the congressional district race. One, this is Shelley Pingree, hoping to go back to Washington for her 7th term with 56% of the vote right now. Jay Allen, her contender, first-time candidate, too, 44% of the vote that he's received at this point. Still only about a third of all of the votes, all the precincts that have been counted at this point, but this is how the race is laying out so far in the 1st congressional district. Yeah,
and if you look at that race so far, the more precincts that report, Shelley Pingree's lead has widened just a little bit each time that the more precincts come in that one. Of course, we've got a big race in Maine's 2nd district as well. First-term Congressman Jared Golden trying to fend off a challenge from Republican Dale Crafts. Let's look at the numbers in that race so far. 37% of the precincts reporting in Maine's 2nd district tonight. And the numbers have switched a little bit here. The last time we checked, Jared Golden had the lead, but now you see Dale Crafts with a lead there. I'm going to try to do some math live on TV. That is about 1,200 votes, somewhere in that vicinity. Catherine, does that check out?
Pretty good.
Put you on the spot, too. 37% of the precincts reporting. And we've seen a little bit of a flip there at this time as Crafts now leads, but still a long way to go in that race.
Absolutely. Emily Tadlock has been following the Golden campaign. She joins us now from the headquarters there in Lewiston with more tonight. Hi, Emily.
Hi, John and Catherine. Yeah, I've just recently heard from some campaign staff who tell me that they are feeling still very confident. As you said, still not quite there yet on results. They are hearing that there might be a holdup in Bangor with results. We haven't been able to confirm any of that yet, but they did say that Jared Golden would not be coming out to talk until those Bangor results are in, because they said that that is the best way to know if he really has a grasp on winning. Now, this is Golden's first time seeking re-election to the seat which he has held for the past 2 years. His campaign decided not to hold an election event tonight. Instead, it's me and just a couple of other members of the media in a very quiet room. This is the first time that we have heard from anyone from the campaign so far tonight. Jared Golden, we have not seen his face around here. We're told that he's upstairs above us somewhere with his family awaiting results. Over the past few days, he's been traveling around the 2nd congressional district, visiting with voters. Now, his campaign is hoping that none of this comes to a ranked choice vote like it did back in 2018. But again, it's too early to call. We're going to send things over to his opponent's campaign party, Dale Crafts. Courtney Courtright is live over there right now. Courtney?
Hey, Emily. Yeah, Election Day. A lot of people have been waiting for this day. Now, Republican candidate Dale Crafts is upstairs waiting and watching as these results come in, but we just got word about like a minute ago that we will be hearing from him soon. He came in here around 8 o'clock tonight, said hello to the supporters, they cheered, and we haven't seen him since, so it'll be very nice to hear what he has to say about how the election and how this day is going for him. Now, just take a look here for yourself. Supporters are still anxiously waiting to see how the results play out tonight in Maine's 2nd Congressional District, and they're also watching the national polls come in too as well. And unlike many other spots we talk about, it's like a broken record. John said how many people are here and how quiet it is at other spots. Now, this private party is capped at 100 people. Now, throughout Dale Crafts' campaign, he's put an emphasis on being a businessman. He wants voters to see him as the small business candidate. If you can remember, Golden and Crafts debated right here on Channel 5. Crazy to think, but that was only 20 days ago. Golden and Crafts agreeing on several issues, like not having a federal face-covered mandate and how important it is to upgrade infrastructure. But they clashed on the Affordable Care Act. And now the day has come to see who will win a spot in Maine's 2nd Congressional District. John and Catherine, I'll send it back to you in the studio as we await Dale Crafts to hear what he has to say about the night.
All right, thank you, Courtney Courtright in Lewiston tonight. And as we showed you just a moment ago, we're approaching the 40% of precincts reporting and about 1,000 votes separating the two candidates there.
So many different elements that have played out and are playing out during this election cycle. One of them has to do with the absentee ballots. And at this point, we know probably more than 500,000 Mainers cast their absentee ballots. There's a big push to do that as people try to stay safe during the pandemic and voting that way as opposed to heading to the polls. But we do know that a lot of people headed to the polls today, too, which might have been a little bit of a surprise for the Secretary of State, Matt Dunlap. He was figuring that that might not be the case, but was a bit surprised. At some point, he has said he does expect that when all of the votes are tallied, we could see more than 70% of Maine registered voters turning out for this election. We spoke with him earlier today.
Have some idea possibly tonight. It depends on how many towns were able to process all their absentee ballots. It could be early tomorrow morning. And of course, nothing is certified for 20 days. So towns have 2 days to get us their results. And then we have the 20 days to do the certification. And the governor has 10 days to sign the certification. And then the legislature gets sworn in on December 2nd. So it's a pretty quick process. Maybe not quick enough for a lot of folks, but, you know, and then there's the question, if nobody gets 50% plus one vote in one of these federal races, then we have to go through the ranked choice process, and that takes an indeterminate amount of time to gather everything together, get all those ballots scanned, and then run an algorithm that sorts out all the rankings through all the rounds.
You can see Secretary Dunlap was at the Cross Center earlier today. You could see the spacing that they did there, and the election folks in Bangor did a tremendous job with the early voting and with getting people in and out of there today at the Cross Insurance Center.
So many challenges that they had to meet and overcome during this election cycle. We want to take a break, and when we come back, we'll rejoin the national network to find out how things are shaping up across the country. You can, of course, continue to follow us and follow all of our social media outlets for the latest on local coverage as well. We'll see you in a few minutes.